Labor came to power promising higher wages, lower electricity bills and lots of freebies. But this obviously isn't what's happening. We are not standing in the promised land of wealth and comfort. Indeed, you made the point that the RBA is effectively forcing mortgage holders to take on the bulk of the economic punishment that was actually created by the failed government policy. Is this going to fatally damage Labor's popularity come the next election?
I think when people's hip pockets start hurting even more, and they're hurting now, yes, it will damage Labor's popularity. And it frustrates me enormously that it is mortgage holders like myself who are bearing the brunt of the war on inflation. And there has to be a war on inflation, but there's more than one lever to pull than just jacking up interest rates. Yes, that might be part of a suite of measures. But as Philip Lowe said earlier in the year in his speech to the press club, he warned the government. He said, if you have high immigration, which puts pressure on housing supply, that puts up the price of housing. If you have high government spending, these things are also things which contribute to inflation. So there's two other levers there which the Albanese government has to fight inflation, but it's going in the opposite direction, leaving all the heavy lifting to the RBA. They're happy to make Philip Lowe the bogeyman, and the reality is that it's the mortgage holders, the mums and dads struggling in the suburbs who are finding that suddenly, as I've found personally, my interest bill per month has gone up by $1,000, and that's money that's got to come out of our ability to live and to pay the grocery bills and the petrol.
Well, let's not forget, Lyle, it's not just mortgage holders who are paying this raise in rate rises, but it's also the business people who were told to take out loans by the government, who kept saying to them during COVID, just hold on, just a little bit longer, another week to flatten the curve. And so all of these people not only burned through their savings, but they took out loans on government promises that things would get better. And now they can't afford their loans. And in Victoria, they're basically being given a COVID tax to recover the cost of debt. Isn't that going to also have a massive impact on the economy as things go on?
Yeah, look, everything that the Albanese government is doing is anti-small business. The increase in electricity prices as a result of the net zero policies, all of this is jacking up the cost of everything, every business input, on top of the debt that people already have, on top of the COVID tax, as you just said. This is a government that is not creating the environment that's needed for the economy to function well and for people to be able to get ahead. Everything is being done to make it more difficult to earn money. The cost of everything is going up. The cost of doing business is going up, and we're all being squeezed. And it's all the result of avoidable government policy. The net zero thing, not allowing us to use coal and natural resources, that could be fixed by government having a common sense approach to energy. The housing affordability crisis could be fixed by releasing more land. Downward pressure on inflation could be fixed by the government not throwing money out the door when it doesn't have the money to throw out the door. So these are all things which the government could fix. The government has created the problem. It's not the war in Ukraine.
Well, as we know, as small businesses close because of these problems, competition decreases and the hold of the large organisations, often foreign-owned, increases, and therefore they'll be able to price set, and Australia will have no hope then. But I love this line from your article, and I quote, "Australia's cost of living crisis is entirely the creation of its political class from both sides," end quote. And you're right, because politicians effectively spent the last 3 years partying hard, and they've gone and left the bar at the tab for the taxpayers to fix up. But there's no money running around, is there, Lyle? Everyone's getting broke and poor, and I'm not seeing people going out and spending cash anymore.
No, that's exactly right. Look, there's nothing more toxic to inflation that drives inflation than government spending. And our government debt, thanks to Scott Morrison, Josh Frydenberg, and now Jim Chalmers, is heading north of $750 billion. That is a lot of money. This is money that won't be paid off probably in my lifetime. It will be paid off by my children and our children's children. It's a form of intergenerational theft. And as I say, it's inflationary. And this is completely a government-induced crisis that we're facing. As I say, if we would release the natural resources that we have, we could bring our electricity costs down. That would bring inflation down. If we could release land, the idea that we have a housing affordability crisis on the most sparsely populated continent on the planet, apart from Antarctica,